The word aliens can be a controversial topic depending on its context, but in truth, where did the idea of aliens come from? Why are they demonstrated within movies? Why is there so much secrecy about them? Many people throughout history to this present day has described alien abductions, but we live in a world so fake the truth scares people as they don't want their illusions destroyed. I could imagine there was a lot of false claims to such incidents, but to label every single last claim of alien abductions as false is quite ridiculous. Think about it. A person who is big enough to actually speak out loud about an alien abduction knows that by doing so, this will not benefit them in the slightest, for they will be ridiculed and humiliated within society. That's why many people who have been abducted do not dare to speak a word of it, for they are too scared to express such offence. The Book of Enoch contains stories and proof of alien abductions. It was Enoch who walked amongst the powerful ones, also known as the Elohim. It was the powerful ones who took him away. Within chapter 5 it states Enoch walked with God and then he was no more, because God took him away. Within older Sumerian tablets there was no mention of God, as it is non-existent. The word God is actually called sky people, which is a plural form describing that there was more than one being. I personally believe they removed the Book of Enoch from the Bible because within context it is blatantly describing alien abductions, and this did not fit the story of God demonstrated within the Bible. There was beings known as the Watchers. They had left their positions in higher stations above earth. They came down amongst humans and mated with human women, which then produced giants. Reading Genesis 6 and the Quran, it speaks of people who was in higher stature compared to normal human beings. Within many ancient cultures, they have described similar accounts of giants and sky people amongst the stars. If your mind is open enough, reading the Abrahamic books, it clearly states extraterrestrials. There are many abduction stories, but the problem is people are blinded by religious ideologies.
You saw through the illusion. Illusion? That's all it's ever done. This Templar treasure, this piece of Eden, this word of God. Do you understand now? The Red Sea was never parted. Water never turned to wine. It was not the machinations of Iris that spawned the Trojan War, but this! Illusions! All of them!
What you plan is no less an illusion. To force men to follow you against their will.
Is it any less real than the phantoms the Saracens and Crusaders follow now? Those craven gods who retreat from this world that men might slaughter one another in their names?
The Elohim took Enoch and they travelled throughout space. They taught him many hidden truths about the universe. Enoch had been shown portals and space stations, travelling within many different planetary systems. It was Uriel who led Enoch throughout the higher heavens. The question is though, did Enoch physically encounter the higher heavens, or was he in a higher state of consciousness, astral travelling in 5D dimensions? Either way, he was taught about the laws of the cosmos, which included astrology. The origins of the Book of Enoch can be seen throughout the Hebrew traditions. Many scholars have agreed that the Book of Enoch was compiled between the 2nd and 3rd century BCE. Enoch being the father of Methuselah, for he was the father of Lamech, and he was the father of Noah. Enoch was amongst the first human to be adopted going into the higher heavens. Reading the Bhagavad Gita, the Indian scriptures, has got UFO activity written all over it, describing flying objects in the sky. Within ancient Egypt, the wall drawings demonstrated flying objects. Many people state that we as humans are alone within the universe. Looking back at ancient writing, it paints an entirely different picture, for they have described extraterrestrials in writings and drawings. The Dogon people of Mali, located in Western Africa, obtained extraordinary information containing astronomical knowledge. This knowledge backdates to 3200 BC. With the help of technology today, scientists can prove such recordings of the Sirius star system. This knowledge coaligns with the Dogon people of Mali. If this is so, how on earth did the Dogons know of such information of the Sirius star system? The Dogons have precise records of the Sirius star system. They stated that Sirius A is the brightest star in the Earth night sky, and Sirius B had a 50-year orbit around Sirius A. The Dogons confirmed that extraterrestrials had visited their ancestors, describing them as being ugly and looking similar to mermaids and mermen. They gave the Dogon tribes information about the Sirius star system and information of the Earth's solar system. This is interesting as the Book of Enoch has similar reference to the Dogons. The Book of Enoch also contains similar information which can be found upon many ancient civilizations. There are many different concepts and ideologies within ancient Sumeria, India and Greece. They all represent similar concepts that there were extraterrestrial beings. They differ in certain aspects due to cultural reasons and languages. Religion is based off set traditions and ideologies. It has been passed down from generation to generation, so looking outside the box, it can be difficult for the individual. But if your mind is open enough, surely you will question things. That's what I did, and it led me to read into older ancient accounts. I came to notice by reading these ancient accounts it was very similar found upon within Abrahamic religions. This helped me to give a better understanding of a whole variety of things, especially on who were these elohim. The problem with based opinions, it has formed ideologies within religion which has now separated humanity, and for a person to come out of that belief it is extremely difficult, but the ones who do will see past the illusion of ideologies which has been passed down to them. It was the sky people who had technology, capable of flying UFOs around Earth and outer space. Technology has advanced so rapidly within a short period of time. Extraterrestrial beings have had a heavy influence of our past and still do to this day. They are working amongst our government, giving them technology, directing our leaders to govern and control humanity. Reading a chapter of the Seacow, it seems the Seacow had visually witnessed a direct encounter with off-planet extraterrestrials. A Seacow went into great detail on describing these beings. It's a real eye-opener as the Seacow described flying aircraft, possibly he saw UFOs. He tried his best to describe the geometry and the noises of such undescribable objects seen within this time. Describing the noise as loud instrument sounds, maybe Seacow was explaining the engine noises. Reading Exodus, having an open mind, there are many verses relating to UFO activity. Moses and the Israelites was told to stand back many of times when Yahweh was present. Is it because the fire and heat of the aircraft was too dangerous to be around? So to quickly recap and process such information, Ezekiel had witnessed extraterrestrials. He was abducted with a UFO craft which he had travelled over Earth. Moses and the children of Israel had seen undescribable events on the ground, and there was Enoch who had reached into deeper space, visualizing other galaxies, guided by unearthly beings named Uriel in context. Again, reading such ideologies and accounts is going to sound abnormal or bizarre. In the book of Enoch, it describes extraterrestrials as watchers. These entities had come down and mated with humanity. They then taught humans how to govern the lands, such as seeding crops from the soil. They taught mankind a variety of things such as medicines, making metal, jewelry and makeup. So to put it into perspective, there was modified apes which had already been created and given a consciousness known as Homo sapiens. The Watchers mated with the female Homo sapiens, possibly upgrading the genetics.